Hey guys, still a little sick. My hair is still a little messy up. um, Today I'm going to be reading chapter 29 through 31 through Genesis. The chapter title for 29 is Jacob Arrives in Paddan Aram. I think that's how you say it. Hopefully I'm saying it right. Some of the names are a little hard for me to say, but hey, it's the Bible, so. Okay. Then Jacob continued on his journey and came to the land of the eastern peoples. There he saw a well in the open country, with 3 flocks of sheep lying near it. Because the flocks were watered from that well, the stone over the mouth of the well was large. When all the flocks were gathered there, the shepherds would roll the stone away from the well mouth and water the sheep. Then they would return the stone to its place over the mouth of the well. Jacob asked the shepherds, "My brothers, where are you from?" "We are from Haran," they replied. He said to them, "Do you know Laban, Nahor's grandson?" "Yes, we know him," they answered. Then Jacob asked them, "Is he well?" "Yes, he is," they said. And here comes his daughter Rachel with the sheep." "Look," he said, "the sun is still high. It is not time for the flocks to be gathered. Water the sheep and take them back to the pasture." We can't," they replied, "until all the flocks are gathered and the stone has been rolled away from the mouth of the well. Then we will water the sheep." While he was still talking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a shepherd. When Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of his uncle Laban, and Laban's sheep, he went over and rolled the stone away from the mouth of the well and watered his uncle's sheep. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and began to weep aloud. He had told Rachel that he was a relative of her father and a son of Rebekah, so she ran and told her father. As soon as Laban heard the news about Jacob, his sister's son, hurried to meet him. He embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his home. And there Jacob told him all these things. Then Laban said to him, "You are my own flesh and blood." Okay. Jacob marries Leah and Rachel. Oh man. 2 people. I don't think I could get married to 2 people. After Jacob had stayed with him for a whole month, Laban said to him, "Just because you are a relative of mine, should you work for me for nothing? Tell me what your wages should be." Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah had weak eyes, but Rachel had a lovely figure and was beautiful. Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, "I'll work for you 7 years in return for your younger daughter, Rachel." Laban said, "It's better that I give her to you than to some other man. Stay here with me." So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for her. Then Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wife. My time is completed, and I want to make love to her." So Laban brought together all the people of the place and gave a feast. But when the evening came, he took his daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob, and Jacob made love to her. And Laban gave his servant Zilpah to his daughter as her attendant. When the morning came, there was Leah. So Jacob said to Laban, "What is this you have done to me? I served you for Rachel, didn't I? Why have you deceived me?" Laban replied, "It is not our custom here to give the younger daughter in marriage before the older one, which this daughter's bridal week. Then we will give you the younger one also, in return for another servant's year of work." And Jacob did so. He finished the week with Leah, and then Laban gave him his daughter Rachel to be his wife. Laban gave his servant Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as her attendant. Jacob made love to Rachel. Also, his love for Rachel was greater than his love for Leah, and he worked for Laban for another 7 years. That's kind of messed up. Telling Jacob was like, "Oh yeah, you worked 7 years for me," and then it's like, "Here's your wife, but I'm actually gonna give you the older daughter because that's how our customs work." And he's like, "What the? Come on, can't be doing that to me." Okay, Jacob's children. When the Lord saw that Leah was not loved, he enabled her to conceive, but Rachel remained childless. Leah became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She named him Reuben, for she said, "It is because the Lord has seen my misery. Surely my husband will love me now." She conceived again, and when she gave birth to a son, she said, "Because the Lord heard that I am not loved, he gave me this one too." So she named him Simon. Again she conceived, and when she gave birth to a son, she said, "Now at the last my husband will become attached to me, because I have borne him 3 sons." So he was named Levi, or Levi. I think Levi would be, Levi. She conceived again, and when she gave birth to a son, she said, "This time I will praise the Lord." So name him Judah. Then she stopped having children. When Rachel saw that she was not bearing Jacob any children, she became jealous of her sister. So she said to Jacob, "Give me children or I'll die." Jacob became angry with her and said, "I am not in the place of God, who has kept you from having children." Then she said, "Here is Bilhah, my servant. Sleep with her so that she can bear children for me, and I too can build a family through her." So she gave him her servant Bilhah as a wife. Jacob slept with her, and she became pregnant and bore him a son. Then Rachel said, "God has vindicated me." That's a weird word. "He has listened to my plea and given me a son." Because of she named him Dan. It's a weird, just Dan, not like a nice name like Levi, or no, just Dan. It's like naming a kid Bob. It's like, "Oh, your name's Bob." Poor Dan. Rachel's servant Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. And Rachel said, "I have a great struggle with my sister, and I have one." So she named him Naphtali. I think that's how you say it, Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had stopped having children, she took her servant Zilpah and gave her to Jacob as a wife. Leah's servant Zilpah bore Jacob a son. And then Leah said, "What good fortune." So she named him Gad. It's even a worse name. Gad? Come on. Really? Leah's servant Zilpah bore Jacob a second son, and then Leah said, "How happy I am, the one will call me happy." So she named him Asher. That's a nice name. During the wheat harvest, Reuben went out into the fields and found some mandrake plants, which he brought to his mother Leah. Rachel said to Leah, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." But she said to her, "It wasn't enough that you took away my husband. Will you take my son's mandrakes too?" "Very well," Rachel said. "He can sleep with you tonight in return for your son's mandrakes." So when Jacob came in from the fields that evening, Leah went out to meet him. "You must sleep with me," she said. "I have hired you with my son's mandrakes." So he slept with her that night. God listened to Leah, and she became pregnant and bore Jacob a 5th son. Then Leah said, "God has rewarded me for giving my servant to my husband." So she named him Issachar. I think that's how you say it. Yeah, Issachar. Leah conceived again and bore a 6th son. And then Leah said, "God has presented me with a precious gift. This time my husband will treat me with honor because I have borne him 6 sons." So I named him Zebulun. That's Zebulun. I think that's how you say it. That's a weird name. And sometime later, she gave birth to a daughter and named her Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel. He listened to her and enabled her to conceive. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son, and said, God taken away my disgrace. She named him Joseph, and said, My Lord, add to me another son. Man, Jacob having a lot of sons, and what, he has one daughter now? One daughter and like 7, because what, Rachel had like now 3 or 4 kids plus the daughter, and then like Leah had 6. Ugh. Poor Jacob. Now he has like a family of like 12 people. Jacob's flocks increase. Oh my. Even more kids. After Rachel gave birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, Send me on my way so I can go back to my own home. Give me my wives and children for whom I have served you, and I will be on my way. You know how much work I have done for you. But Laban said to him, If I have found favor in your eyes, please stay. I have learned my divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you. He added, Name your wages and I will pay them. Jacob said to him, You know how I have worked for you and how your livestock has fared under my care. The little you had before I came has increased greatly. And the Lord had blessed you wherever I have been. But now, when may I do something for my own household? What shall I give you? He asked. Don't give me anything, Jacob replied. But if you will do this one thing for me, I will go on tending your flock, or your flocks, and watching over them. Let me go through all your flocks to the day and remove them, every speckled or spotted sheep, every dark-colored lamb, and every spotted or speckled goat. They will be my wages, and my honesty will testify for me in the future. Whenever you check on the wages you have paid me, and any goat in my possession that is not speckled or spotted, or any lamb that is dark-colored will be considered stolen. Man, Jacob's just like, man, just let me go. I'll do anything. Agreed, said Laban. Let it be as you have said. The same day he removed all of the male goats that were streaked or spotted, and all speckled and or spotted female goats, all that had white on them, and all dark-colored lambs, and he had placed them in the care of his sons. Then he put a 3-day journey between himself and Jacob. While Jacob continued to tend the rest of Laban's flock, Jacob, however, took fresh-cut branches from the poplar, almond, and pine trees, and made white stripes on them by peeling the bark and exposing the white inner wood of the branches. Then he placed the peeled branches in all the watering troughs, so that they would be directly in front of the flocks. When they came to drink, when the flocks were in the heap and came to drink, they matted in front of the branches. Mated in front of the branches, and they bore young that were streaked or speckled or spotted. Jacob set apart the young of the flock by themselves, but made the rest face the streak and the dark-colored animals that belonged to Laban. Thus he made separate flocks for himself, did not put them with Laban's animals. Whenever the stronger females were in heat, Jacob would place the branches in troughs in front of the animals so they would mate near the branches. But if the animals were weak, he would not place them there. So the weak animals went to Laban, and the strong ones to Jacob. In the way the man grew extremely prosperous, and came to own large flocks. and the female and the male servants, and camels and donkeys. Sorry, I can't do that word. But yeah. So Jacob basically taking all the strong type animals so you can have a better flock, make more money, get better meat, better furs and stuff. While LeBron's getting the weaker type ones, but LeBron doesn't know that. He's just like, to give me what I need, you know. Okay, chapter 31. Jacob flees from LeBron. Oh no. Jacob heard that LeBron's sons were saying Jacob has taken everything our father owned and has gained all this wealth from what belonged to our father. And Jacob noticed that LeBron's attitude towards him was not what it had been. Then the Lord said to Jacob, "Go back to the land of your fathers and to your relatives, and I will be with you." So Jacob sent word to Rachel and Leah to come out to the fields where his flocks were. He said to them, "I see that your father's attitude toward me is not what it was before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I have worked for your father with all my strength. Yet your father has cheated me by changing my wages 10 times. However, God has not allowed him to harm me. If he said, 'The speckled ones will be your wages,' then all the flocks gave birth to speckled young. And if he said, 'The streaked ones will be your wages,' and all the flock bore streaked young. So God has taken away your father's livestock and has given it to me." Oh man. God's just like, nope, not gonna give LeBron anything good. I'm just gonna keep giving Jacob the good ones. In the breeding season, I once had a dream in which I looked up and saw that the male goats mating with a flock were streaked, speckled, or spotted. The angel of God said to me in the dream, "Jacob." I answered, "Here I am." And he said, "Look up and see that all the male goats mating with the flock are streaked, speckled, or spotted. For I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. I am God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar, and where you made a vow to me. Now leave this land at once and go back to your native land." Then Rachel and Leah replied, "Do we still have any share in the inheritance of our father's estate? Does he not regard us as foreigners? Not only has he sold us, but he has used up what was paid for us. Surely all the wealth that God took away from our father belongs to us and our children. So do whatever God has told you." And Jacob put his children and his wives on camels, and he drove all his livestock ahead of him, along with all the goods he had accumulated in Paddan, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. When Laban had gone to shear his sheep, Rachel stole his father's household gods. Moreover, Jacob deceived the Aramine, by not telling him he was running away. So he fled with all he had, crossed the Euphrates River, and headed for the hill country of Gilead. Oh man, Jacob going crazy. LeBron pursues Jacob. Okay, sorry. On the third day, LeBron was told that Jacob had fled. Taking his relatives with him, he pursued Jacob for 7 days and caught up with him in the hill country of Gilead. Then God came to LeBron the Aramine in a dream at night and said to him, "Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad." Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country of Gilead when LeBron overtook him. LeBron and his relatives camped there too. Then LeBron said to Jacob, "What have you done? You've deceived me, and you carried off my daughters like captives in war. Why did you run off secretly and deceive me?" Why didn't you tell me so I could send you away with joy and singing you to the music of timbrels and harps? You didn't even let me kiss my grandchildren and my daughters goodbye. You've done a foolish thing. I have the power to harm you, but last night the God of your father said to me, be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Now you have gone off because you long to return to your father's household. But why did you steal my gods? Jacob answered Laban, I'm afraid because I thought you would take your daughters away from me by force. But if you find anyone who has your gods, the that person shall not live. In the presence of our relatives, see for yourself, wherever there is anything of yours here with me, and if so, take it. Now Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen the gods. So Laban went into Jacob's tent, and into Leah's tent, and into the tent of the two female servants, but he found nothing. After he came out of the Leah's tent, he entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household gods and put them inside her camel's saddle, and was sitting on them. Laban searched throughout everything in the tent, but found nothing. Rachel said to her father, don't be angry, my lord, that I cannot stand up in your presence. I'm having my period. Okay. So he searched, but could not find the household gods. Jacob was angry and took Laban to task. What is my crime? He asked Laban. How have I wronged you that you hunt me down? Now that you have searched through all my goods, what have you found that belongs to your household? Put it here in front of your relatives and mine, and let them judge between the two of us. I've been with you for 20 years now. Your sheep and goats have not miscarried, nor have I eaten rams of your flock. I did not bring your animals torn by the wild beasts. I bore the loss myself, and you demanded payment from me for whatever was stolen by day or night. This was situation. The heat consumed me in the daytime, and the cold at night. The sleep fled from my eyes. It was this for 20 years that I was in your household. I worked for 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flocks. And you changed my wages 10 times. If God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not been with me, you would surely have sent me away empty-handed. But God has seen my hardship and toil of my hands. And the last night he rebuked you. Laban answered Jacob, the women are my daughters, the children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks. All you see is mine. Yet what can I do today about these daughters of mine, or about the children they have borne? Come now, let's make a covenant, you and I, and let's serve as a witness between us. So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. He said to his relatives, gather some stones. So they took stones and piled them in a heap. They ate there by the heap. Laban called it the Jegar Sahadutha, and Jacob called it the Galid. Laban said, this heap is a witness between you and me today. This is why it was called Galid. It also called Mizpah, because he said, may the Lord keep watch between you and me when we are away from each other. If you mistreat my daughters, if you take any wives beside my daughters, even though no one is with us, remember that God is a witness between you and me. Laban also said to Jacob, here is the heap, and here is the pillar I have set up between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness. I will not go past this heap to your side to harm you, and that you will not go past this heap and pillar to my side to harm me. May God of the Abraham, the God of Nahor, and the God of their father judge between us. So Jacob took an oath in the name of the fear of his father Isaac. He offered a sacrifice there in the hill country, and invited his relatives to a meal. After they have eaten, they spent the night there. Early the next morning, LeBron kissed his granddaughter, or grandchildren, and his daughters and blessed them. And then he left and returned home. Oh man. Well, that's kind of nice how it ended, you know. Jacob making a pact with LeBron so that he wouldn't, you know, cause harm to him or do anything bad, you know. The whole next time we'll be in chapter 32 of Genesis. Jacob prepares to meet Ezra. I don't know. Hopefully Ezra's still not doing his evilness. Poor Jacob. He had to spend 20 years of his life to get what he wanted, and now he's coming back, and now he has to meet his brother that probably still doing bad things. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.